Welcome back to another edition of the Mandatory Live, coming to you early in the morning, 7 a.m. here on the West Coast, 10 a.m. on the East Coast, where Brian is. We thank you so much for joining us this morning. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button because it helps the channel grow. Also, follow us on our social media channels. We're at the Mandatory TKO, and you can find us on the audio side as well. So wherever you find your shows or podcasts, you can find us there. Leave us a rate and review, give us a 5-star because that always helps. And a pretty exciting week, Brian, because it's Inoue week. So whenever it's Inoue week, it's an exciting week. Now, we are going to get into some announcements as well that were made this week. Some big fights coming up as well. Devin Haney is going to be making a return. Ryan Garcia is going to be making a return. They're not going to be fighting each other, but they're on the same card. So we're going to get into all of that. Also, the Tank Davis card has been announced as well. So remember, drop your comments. We're going to get to all of them. This is an interactive show. But before we get into all of that, like I mentioned, Inoue week. Now, it's not initially the fight that we thought it was going to be. We thought it was going to be him and Sam Goodman. Sam Goodman, Brian, he just can't seem to not get cut. So that fight's not happening. But this is actually a pretty intriguing fight. I know the odds are crazy as they normally would be, but Naoya Inoue versus Joon Kim, this is not the worst fight because, I mean, Kim's going to make this interesting, right?
Is he though? Like,
Well, let's get into it.
that's kind of where I'm at with this. If you're watching, you may be a better because we do talk about betting from time to time. Now you're in a way is minus 5,000, so don't even bother. If you're gonna bet, like look for something else. The over under in terms of rounds is 3.5, which is Vegas telling you, hey, this should end very very quickly. Now, Joon Kim has never been stopped before. He's lost twice. He has 2 draws on his record. He is as good as you can probably do on short notice, according to some people. I would probably dispute that, but like you have to also take into account somebody has to go to Japan to take this fight on short notice and to be willing to face Naoya Inoue, which I mean, I don't know how many people are willing to do that, but yeah, it feels like Naoya Inoue is just going to. I mean, I saw a quote that said he hopes that this is going to be, super challenging or whatever the case may be. We'll see, but I don't think this is going to be something that lingers on forever unless Inoue sort of carries him. Which this is not a fight that I'm tempted to bet on, but I will watch it because it's now Inoue and because it's January. My expectation is he fights 3 times this year, so hoping to see him again in the spring/summer and then again late in the year. Hopefully not on another holiday because they attempted to do Christmas Eve last year, and I'm kind of glad that Sam Goodman got cut the first time. Bummed the second time though because I still want to see Inoue versus Sam Goodman, even though I'm very confident Inoue wins that fight.
Yeah, I think that is a good fight though. Like, let's be serious. Inoue versus Sam Goodman. But here's the thing: it's not happening. Our good friend of the show, Jesus, is joining us early in the morning. Saludos, is that how you say it?
Yeah,
And so,
saludos. We'll
oh my
get to
god, I
your
sound
other.
like a gringo. Oh
We'll
my
get
goodness.
to.
You should have heard the way I ordered a burrito taco the other day. I sounded like a gringo. I was like, "Can I get a burrito taco?" I was disappointed in myself. Okay. Anyways, that's not the point.
We'll get to the other comment in the next segment, Jesus, because we're gonna just wrap on Inoue here.
That's true. That's true. Okay, the only thing that I
And
wanted
any
to
other
say,
comments, please feel free. Anyway,
the only thing I really wanted to say about the Inoue thing is going back to the record, unless anyone was curious, because I tried to go back and see a few fights from Kim, and I could only find like 4, to be honest with you. So I sat down and I watched it just because I wanted to see how he fought. But
Sure.
that's because I hadn't seen him before. So I was like, let me do my research. He's 21-2, 13 of those wins come by knockout. There's not really anyone on his resume that I would point out and be like, oh no, he fought him. So when it comes to Inoue fighting Kim, the one thing that I did notice that will be very interesting in this fight is, as Brian said, let's remember it's short notice. You're going to be going to Inoue's backyard, and everyone knows that this is the monster that's like knocking dudes out left, right, and center, right? And it's a tough fight to take, but you got to have no fear. Kim has no fear. If you see the way that he fights, he is aggressive. The only thing that's kind of worrisome is that he's not very good defensively. Like, he's there to be hit. and he doesn't care. Like he's gonna get hit, and he's very, very tough. So that's why I think this could be a very interesting fight because he's got a lot of heart, but the style is not the best because it's like you don't want to get hit by Inoue. And I think Kim is going to get hit by Inoue a lot because he doesn't care. Like that's kind of his fighting style. It's kind of like a Mexican style where he likes to come forward, he likes to get hit, he likes to throw. That's the type of fighter he is from what I saw from the footage of those like 4 or 5 fights that I could find online. So I think he can make it interesting in the sense where he's not going to be scared of him if that's his game plan, because that's the only way I've seen him fight on highlights. However, it's not a good recipe against Inoue. I feel like this is going to be under 6 rounds if he fights like that. Like if he fights reckless, like he's a brawler. And that's not the best style to have against Inoue, but it will probably make for an entertaining fight. So, yeah, not the best fight to bet on probably, but if I was looking, I would say rounds 1 through 6. Kim is really tough, but how much of a beating can he take from Inoue? Inoue hits harder and he's got the speed factor. So I'm not going to stay on this for too long. Inoue is going to put on a good performance, I feel, and Kim though very tough, and I think he's going to make it interesting and entertaining. And he's not just a layup because just based off the footage, the guy's got a lot of heart. So for that, I think this might be a pretty good fight.
Rounds 1 through 6 for Inoue to stop him minus 500 at one particular book. So there's your parlay leg, and like that's the super safe one. It apparently is. I'm not even so sure I would bet that just because like again, what if he just is carried into the later rounds?
Well,
We
yeah.
haven't seen an like an early Inoue stoppage in a little bit. So I mean maybe he's sort of due, so to speak, because
Was that
Inoue.
Tapala's? Would that be the last one?
So he got TJ Doheny round 7, Lewis Neri round 6. So that was the last time he got that
Yeah.
1 to 6 window. Martin Zapala's was 10. That was later than I remember
Yeah.
also. Stephen Fulton was 8, Paul Butler 11, but Paul Butler was legitimately just playing keep away for as long as possible and not trying to mix it up. Kim will not do that. And Nonito Donaire before that, the second time was
Yes.
round 2 in 2022. So that's probably the last time. And that was around the time where Inoue had been getting early stoppages. Like it wasn't too long after Manny Rodriguez, for example, but he hasn't gotten a lot of early stoppages, and this one projects to be one based on the styles also, because it feels like in a way he's just going to, like he did against Stephen Fulton, like he's done against other guys. Like once he commits to his jab early on and does it in round 1, like you're in trouble because he can get his jab off even against a taller and longer fighter like Stephen Fulton. He'll do it in this fight too.
And Stephen Fulton is a lot more skilled than Kim. Kim doesn't have, like, he does have skill, but he's not as tactical. Like I said, he's kind of like a brawler. So he's going to come forward. He's going to try to be aggressive. So I want to know if that's going to be his game plan for this fight. So I looked at odds 1 through 6, which because Kim is so irresponsible defensively, I think he's going to get knocked out between that. But if I was looking longer, I would look at rounds 5 through 8. Like I was feeling kind of comfortable about it because I was like, what if Inoue tries to warm up, put on a little bit of a show, and get him out in rounds 5 through 8? But at the same time, we've seen him have crazy knockouts. And so if Kim is going to be irresponsible and Inoue lands, a liver shot or something like that, which I feel like could possibly happen in this fight, then I think it could be rounds 1 through 6. But if it happened between rounds 5 through 8, I would not be surprised. I just don't see it going past round 9, though. Like as tough as Kim is. And
Yeah. Can I just read you some odds? Like
yeah,
that
of
are
course.
this is ridiculous. And then we'll get off this, but one knockdown in the fight, one plus knockdowns in the fight, minus 1400. A knockdown in any of rounds 1 through 6, minus 950. We have Ye Jun Kim to get knocked down in rounds 1, 2, or 3, minus 320. 2 plus knockdowns in the fight, minus 250. Like, this is all telling you where the sort of value or lack thereof is. And this is very much a lack thereof. This is interesting in terms of just betting. Ye Jun Kim to be knocked down in the first minute of any round, plus 120, basically for Inoue to just get off to a hot start and just catch him early in any round in the fight. I kind of am interested in that. Then you have a knockdown in any of rounds 4 through 9 plus 125. So if you think this is going to go over 3.5 rounds, which not a lot of people seem to, but if you do, then that's something that's worth looking at. Naoya Inoue to win in the first minute of any round plus 195. Naoya Inoue to win and round 5 to start plus 195, and so on and so forth. So like that's where you start getting the value there. But I mean, if you're gonna bet, you got to get creative. I also don't think this is something you need to bet on. You could just watch in a way, just be in a way, and then move on to the next. Before too long, maybe he fights Sam Goodman. Maybe he becomes a featherweight, and maybe we see him fight the Junto Nakatanis of the world in the future. We'll see.
I forget who it was, but there were some people saying that there was going to be an upset online. Not our YouTube show. But someone's like, is it going to be an upset? Because Kim's known to be like really, really tough. He does have power, but like I was saying, we shouldn't stay on this for too long. But once we get talking about Inoue, you
Yeah.
never know what could happen with opponents, and you never know what could happen in boxing. In a fight like Lewis Neary dropped Inoue, and that was like so surprised. We were like shocked and jarred, but not really because Neary's got power,
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the
right?
Neri's the strongest guy that Inoue's probably been in the ring with.
If I'm gonna be honest though, I love that. I love that Inoue got dropped and then won. Like I love
Dominated
that
the
stuff,
fight.
right? Like
Dominated the fight
I
after that.
love that. So it's like I don't really care about those type of things. Inoue proved himself. So nonetheless, let us know how you're gonna be betting on this fight. If you think there could be a possible upset, if you've seen more fights from Kim, if we are downplaying how he fights, let us know. Obviously, this is an interactive show and we love hearing comments from you. So make sure to drop that below. Also, hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content. Bryan, let's get to one comment from our good friend Jesus because he's talking about Inoue really quick. And I think this is kind of a topic of discussion. Jesus says, Inoue cherry picking. Supposedly, Inoue is going to face David Picasso very soon next. Interesting. Do you see this happening?
I don't think Inoue's cherry picking. No, I think you're just getting a guy on short notice who's tough, who's going to put on a show, and on to the next. Like again, I think Inoue gets this done early, and we see him again in May, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, Jesus. I don't think he's cherry picking either. I think Sam Goodman was actually a good opponent, in my opinion. And I think when Inoue does decide to move up to 126, because I think he's going to cap out at some point.
Yeah.
At some point, he has to because there's a weight classes for a reason. But 126 to me, like there's some interesting names on there.